What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, West New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from. Make sure you go check out Fatty Beer. Tell them the boys from Two Goalies One Mike sent you. Check out their Mango. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's delicious. The beer. They have it on draft. Make sure you check it out. Or become a Mug Club member. Lots of savings there for you, too. And, of course, Buffalo Logo Apparel. I get a lot of my shirts and my hats and my hoodies from Buffalo Logo. You should get your hands on the Dominic Hasek Letterman cap. It's an absolute beautiful, beautiful hat, along with the RJ one as well, with the little headset on the side instead of the helmet. Sabres fall 5-2 to the Florida Panthers. Same score. They beat them by earlier in the season, just a few short weeks ago. And the hot streak ends at 3 games. You couldn't get in the garage for 4 when I thought it was really right there for the taking. And we're going to discuss that for a little bit here. But hey, you got to stay on the box. That's really the moral of the story here is you spent way too much time in the box. A stupid penalty from Duane there at the end when you were down by 1. To give that, was it a 2-man advantage? No, I'm sorry, 2-man advantage. He got a double minor, and they capitalized on it. Went up 4-2, and then Barkov walks in. He's one of the most lethal shots in the league, and goes barring in. So it was an absolute missile too. I don't think any goalies are stopping that shot from uncontested. Nobody stepping up on it. I want to say it was Byram that was the closest guy, and just didn't really control the gap very well. And he saw that shoot. He might have even screened UPL a little bit there. So, but the thing is, you were in this game in the third period. Yeah, you went down 3-2, sure. But I said in the intermission report between the second and third period on the Built in Buffalo Twitter page, I said, you win this period, you win the game. You have the same, if you play the third period the same way you just played the second period, stay out of the box, get pucks in that, you'll win this game. You'll find a way to win, or at least get points. But Florida is not a team that you can afford to just give them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity on the power play. Like, they're a team built to win a cup. You know why? Because they won a cup last season. They have so many guys that are capable of scoring 30 goals in a single season on their team. Between Sam Bennett, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Barkov, Tkachuk. That's 5 guys right there? They're all capable of scoring 30 or more goals. Luosterainen's a great player. On the back end, you got, Brendan Montour, Aaron Ekblad. There's so many good players on this team. They're built to win. They're a 4-line scoring hockey team. You are not. Currently, you were playing like a 1.5-line scoring hockey team. And you cannot afford to give players or teams like the Florida Panthers that many opportunities to burn you on the power play. Plain and simple. I don't know. I've already heard that Lindy Ruff is not happy in his post game, as he shouldn't be. And is even calling some players by name, which sometimes I don't like that, but in this case, a lot of the bad decision making, especially from your captain, it's warranted. It's warranted. And we're going to hit the peanut gallery right here because I got to see we got like 20 comments since we've gone live. And I'm sure you guys are all as fired up as I am. So let's get right into it. Obviously, I'm riding solo tonight, so I'll try to do my best to keep up with things. Lindy not happy, naming names and who did things wrong. Too many penalties, too many mistakes. Our boy Mauricio, what happened to the second and third line depth scoring back? First off, Mauricio, slow your roll. We never said there was depth scoring on this team. Never. If you've been following me for as long as I know you've been following me, I have been complaining about the lack of depth on this team since the offseason. They are a top-heavy team. You were hoping to at least have 2 scoring lines. You don't even have that right now. You can't depend on your bottom 6 to do what they've been doing as consistently they've been doing it all season. You just can't. But I'll finish your sentence. What happened to the second and third line depth scoring, back checking, forechecking, nowhere to be seen? lack of depth and talent. JJ played poorly, too much passing, not forechecking. I did notice that a little from JJ tonight. Quinn is invisible. You are not wrong. Demote Quinn. Just don't have the talent to beat a healthy Florida team. Here's the thing, though, Josh. I think I know which Josh this is. I'm not 100% positive. You could have beat them tonight. The game was there for you. Stay out of the box, and you're in this game. You're just there. Florida was letting you back into this game. Bobrovsky was bobbing you. You know, that save on power, even though I think he would have liked a better shot there, especially getting it off the ice. I think that, you know, not going to say Bob stole them the game tonight, but he played phenomenal. I thought UPL played well enough to win. However, he probably wants that first goal back, in my opinion, the 2-on-1, where Bovquist kind of froze him up a little bit, and he was kind of backed into his net, and he got beat blocker side. And the first shot that went low blocker, I think he'd probably want that one back too. But besides that, UPL made plenty of saves tonight to win them this game. They just couldn't do it. You got to play 60 minutes. Again, coming out of that second period, I was flat out saying, like, win this period, win the game. Do all the things in the third period that you were doing in the second, you'll win the second game. And you did it quite the opposite, making stupid mental errors, not paying attention to detail, not staying out of the box, and your captain being the guy. I know it was a nice goal from Duane to tie it at 2, but he made a lot of stupid decisions tonight. That one goal doesn't make up for all the stupid decisions he made, including obviously his lack of awareness on the Reinhart goal, where he chased behind the net to support Samuelson when he didn't need the support, and then leaving Reinhart all alone. And then, of course, just the penalty at the end. Just, you know, have control of your stick, man. Just have control of your stick. Their talent makes their chances count. Our talent, Cousins, shoot the puck 10 feet wide of the net. Yeah, again, and I asked this too. Power breaks in on net alone, can't score. I mean, but again, you're also shooting against a top 3 goalie in the world. He's going to make big saves. He's going to make timely saves. He made a timely save there. Individual talent not high enough, not executing when they get the chances. Too many odd man rushes like last year. Even the odd man rushes, they use their odd man rushes to score. Our guys can't hit the net like Cousins. Yeah, Cousins didn't have a good game tonight. I don't care what anyone says, he didn't have a good game tonight. That whole second line did not have a good game tonight. Maybe a couple shifts where they stood out a little bit. I'm not saying Cousins' reason they lost tonight. He's not. But Quinn played terribly. Absolutely terribly. And Cousins isn't playing like the centerman to help drive that line enough where, you know, Quinn, even for some of his deficiencies this season, can still score here and there because you have an elite centerman, you know, driving that line. And you don't have that right now with Cousins. He hasn't found his game again yet. I really don't know what the problem is. Cousins is becoming a real problem real quick. And here's the thing, like he has played a few good games in a row. He has. Here's the thing. There's higher expectations for Dylan Cousins. You're getting paid a big contract. A lot of faith has been put in Dylan Cousins, and he's not putting pucks in the net. He has no goals, and I think 3 points on the season. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. We are 10 games into the season. I think 10 games in. That's not good enough. He needs to be close to a point per game player. He just needs to, like, for the money he's getting paid for the season he had 2 years ago, he needs to be scoring 30 goals and anywhere between 70 and 85 points. That makes you happy with that contract. Right now, man, bust right now. Just didn't prepare for the speed and execution of the Florida Panthers. Sloppy mistakes, bad penalties. UPL didn't look that good in the first period. Look slow to react, dust it off, get ready for the New York Islanders. Yes, you know, look to the next game. Hot take, I think pressure of captaincy is already wearing on Duane. He looks lost. If he's hurt to the point he's hurt in the game, he should be sitting until he's 100%. I mean, before tonight, he has looked good the past 2 games. I don't know. I can't get in the mind of Rasmus Dahlin and tell you if he's folding under the pressure. I don't know. I think he's more mature than that, but time will tell. Too much pressure on all these young kids. Should have brought a veteran scorer on the top 6 to replace Skinner. Still relying on a 19-year-old Benson, a 23-year-old Quinn or Kulik. My team suck. Oh yeah, sorry about them Yankees Mac attack. Sorry, bud. Frustrating loss. We easily could have got a point out of this game if we didn't take these stupid penalties. Also, Power missed a wide open net. Yes, he did. Paterka had a great chance too, but couldn't get his stick on the puck. Excuse me. Definitely could have won this game. The chances were there. Yeah, again, Florida was willing to let you back in this game. They were willing to let you win this game. You allowed yourselves to lose that game. The third goal, obviously not. But here's the thing: like with this season, when you have gotten down, the difference between this team and last year's team is they don't turtle. They still fight. They keep fighting, and this team kept fighting tonight. But you got to stay out of the box, and you need more scoring from other people than Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck and JJ Paterka. Like, depending on guys like Zucker and McLeod to be in every game, players to get on the score sheet every game. That you just can't. Those guys aren't going to be those guys. They're just not. I hope they are, but I just don't think they will be. That's where you need those young kids. You invested a big contract into Dylan Cousins. Jack Quinn, I mean, I don't know, man. Is it time to start talking about we should have picked Marco Rossi again? Because he does not look like the player that we had all this hype around, potential, the finishing ability, the shot. Just the guy is just so snake bitten. And I tweeted it out. And I said, when is it time to put Dylan Cousins in the press box? Not even as a punishment, but sometimes, and Lindy's done this before in the past, let them see the game from a different angle. Reevaluate. Take a step back, settle things down, and watch a game from up top. Quinn, too. I think it could help. And, Quinn more punishment than definitely Cousins, but, sometimes stuff like that helps. It does. I think it's time for Dylan Cousins. Again, not as punishment, because I don't think his game over the last 3 warrants any punishment. I mean, you could point to a couple different players tonight. Darlene being near the top of the list is the reason why you might have lost this game. Again, scoring a goal doesn't make up for the multiple mistakes he made tonight that ended up in the back of your net. It's just a fact. UPL. Again, I don't think he's the reason we lost. I think he played more than well enough for us to win. But again, I think he probably would have wanted 2 of those goals back. But you only scored twice in a league against a team where the Florida Panthers aren't a team that's going to get shut out very often. You're gonna have to score 3 or 4 goals against them and hope your goaltender comes out and has a fantastic game in order to beat a team like Florida. It's as deep as Florida. It's as highly talented as Florida. You don't have that team. And UPL wasn't, I'm not going to say he wasn't on his game, because I thought he played very well. He made some big saves. But, he's definitely played better the previous 3 games. He has, that we won. So, you need to score. You need to give him some goal support. And you didn't. You just did not tonight. You spent too much time in the penalty box. Your franchise player takes a stupid 4-minute penalty at the end of the game that takes with 7 minutes left, meaning he's not going to be on the ice for four or less minutes, where you probably need, out of those 7 minutes, you need him probably on the ice for 4.5, 5 of those minutes. It's just a fact. He is your best player. Whether he's playing like it or not, Rasmus Dahlin's your best, most talented player. He is your franchise. He is what Jack Eichel was supposed to be for the Sabres when we got Jack Eichel. That's what Rasmus Dahlin is right now. You can't have that guy in the box for 4 minutes at the end of the game during a 1-goal game. And yeah, they go up by 2 there, and then you start taking chances. Barkov comes down wide, one of the most lethal shots in the league, goes barring in. Again, I don't even think UPL even saw that. It was an absolute missile. That was a piss missile. I need my goalie to make a couple of those saves early on. It's that simple. I'll agree with you on the first one. I thought he was backed up into his net, and I think that, Bothquist froze him up a little bit. The Reinhart goal, I mean, like, come on. Like, he had 57 goals last season, and you left him alone in front. I mean, what are we doing here? That's on Dahlin. We're blaming Dahlin there before we're ever blaming UPL. But for sure, that first goal, I think he would have wanted that back. And then again, I think the first low blocker, I think Sam Bennett goal. I want to say it was Sam Bennett. He definitely wants that one back too. So, yeah, man, I'm not putting this game on UPL. I'm just not. You love the fight and pushback, though. I do. When I see fight there too, I'm going back to Dylan Cousins. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe people see it as nothing, but I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill. But after Krebs got buried from behind, I'm not sure who that was that buried him. Maybe you guys can tell me in the chat. Dylan Cousins skates up to him. And I'm not saying you got to go down, take your gloves off, punching the guy in the face while he's laying on the ice. But he's just giving me these really light cross checks. I don't know, man. You should be grabbing that guy, forcing him to your feet, and trying to beat the shit out of him. Like, he could have seriously injured Krebs. Like, that's your former line mate for Team Canada. You've known him forever. I just need more fight out of you, Dylan Cousins, in that situation. Maybe I'm not going to make a out of a molehill. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just stating the obvious. He was giving these, like, late little cross checks while I was on the ice. Like, it was nothing. He was looking up at him. He's like, this is it? I would like more out of him there. Get him on his feet and tell him he's got to answer for that hit. The dirty hit, buried him from behind. My opinion is you need more from Dylan Cousins there. If you're going to sit there and lightly cross-check the guy, you know what? Then drop your stick, grab him, yank, get him up to his feet, and said, let's go. That's just me. So, yes, the Verhaeghe cross-check from behind, yes. Discussions about trading Cousins and Kulik or Rosen or a first-round pick or even Jokiharju, one of our deep prospects for a legit second-line center, should start happening soon. You're not going to trade Dylan Cousins, man, because you're not going to get the value back. And you're like, right now with the way he's playing, like nobody's going to be willing to pay all of that contract. You're going to have to eat some of that contract, I think, which I'm not willing to do. I'd rather stick it out with Cousins and let him figure it out. The kid's like 22, 23 years old. Let him figure it out. Maybe try him on the top line. I don't know. Try him on the wing on the top line. Drop JJ down to that second line. See if he can drive that line from the wing. Take Kulik out. Well, that's the thing. You don't have. Maybe put McLeod there. JJ, McLeod, and Kulik. I don't know. You got to do something with that second line. I know now Benson's on the IR, so that hurts you. This is why you needed to add somebody in the top 6 in the offseason. And you didn't. I'm not going to sit here and yell. I don't feel like yelling. But how many times have I told you guys, have I said this out loud? You can't just trade Casey Middlestat, who last year I think led you in most offensive categories, for a defenseman. You buy out Jeff Skinner, but you don't replace their production. You just didn't. You hope for so much progression from younger players, and you're not getting it. Dylan Cousins has 3 points in the season. Does Jack Quinn even have a point? If it is, like 1. So that's on your GM. You have this money to spend. Like the players you did go out and sign, you already had that money before buying out Jeff Skinner. So that's not an excuse. I mean, you were willing to go out and pay Taylor Hall $8 million for one season after Jack Eichel requested a trade. Like, so to make him happy, you got Taylor Hall. And sometimes you got to overpay for a guy who maybe he will only score 20 or 25 goals, but at least he can go into your top 6 and improve it. Play on your second line and help drive that line. Maybe help a veteran that can help a guy like Dylan Cousins, find his way back again. And there were players out there to be had. It wasn't just Nikas. There were other players. You just chose not to spend the money, Kevin Adams. You just chose not to. So whether it's an internal cap, I don't know. But you reap what you sow, man. This is what happens against teams like this. When you're so top heavy, you rely on one line to do all the scoring for you. This is what's going to happen. This is not built to be a playoff team. If this is the way you're going to construct this roster and, keep beating this dead horse year after year of not adding to your top six, of not adding offensive talent through free agency or trade, you're beating this dead horse year after year, hoping for your youth, the players you've drafted, to figure it out. But sometimes that's not the answer. It's not. You should have went out. You should have brought in a veteran player, a guy not named Jason Zucker because he's a bottom six player, a top six veteran player that can go out there and contribute offensively 50 to 60 points and make up for the scoring you lost. And on the off chance that Dylan Cousins does have another slow start this season, Jack Quinn doesn't find his game. He does not look like the player that we all saw at the start of last season. The finishing ability, the shot, the speed, it's not there. It's just not there. But I don't know. Zucker has the same amount of goals as Skinner does this year. That's great, okay? But Skinner has how many times scored 25, 35 goals a year for this team? How many times? You just gotta, you just don't not replace that progress. Like, you have to replace that production with somebody. Like, the power play is the perfect example. How many times was Skinner scoring on the power play? Dirty goals in front of the net. Like we have 2 power play goals in the first 10 games of the entire season. That's inexcusable. Inexcusable. I don't know. You can't spend money on someone. You got to make a losing trade. You have so many friggin' prospects in the AHL. Trade them, for fuck's sakes. There isn't room on this team. I tend to agree with that. Like, I'm not saying you make a losing trade, but like, make a trade that benefits you now and benefits who you're trading for them in the future. Like, a team that needs to rebuild, like the constant rebuilding this team has done. Cousins has not been the same since Adams and Granato had him gelded after Cousins came out of the media and said, "We are soft," and ever since, he hasn't been the same. Yeah, I remember that quote. He did call this team soft. And they still play soft. Fire Ellis, put Duane in his place. I mean, Ellis isn't even on the bench anymore. So, I mean, is at this point, it's the players. Need another Savoy for McLeod trade. I know, I get what you're saying, Greg. And Greg and Josh, but like, you can't. McLeod helps you now, but you would hope that Savoy would have gotten you more. But again, I'm not upset about that trade because McLeod has been great in your bottom six. But I don't know, without the money you have to spend, there had to have been a guy out there you could have just said, "Hey, we'll pay you $7 million to come here for one season. We'll see how it goes at the end of the year. If you want to stick around, we can renegotiate." But there had to have been something there, some type of deal to be made. And maybe Kevin Adams just via trade just wasn't willing to deal with the prospects. We saw that, around we saw that at the draft. Allegedly, he was trying to deal his pick. I don't know what offers were on the table, but instead you decided to draft Holliness, which he turned out to be a really good player. But he's a player you're not going to see this season, or maybe even next season. So what good does it do you? What good does it do you? It doesn't do you any good. I don't know. It's just depressing. Put it quite simply. It's not good trades, but it's Pagula and put the Sabres organization in this spot. You got to make losing trades to get players here because no one wants to come play for Buffalo. Overpaying Zucker. Yeah, they definitely, it was $5 million a year for 1 year for Jason Zucker. It's a good example. But again, $5 million got you Jason Zucker. What would have the entire $7 million gotten you? Could it have gotten you a second line player? Did you even try? Were you snake bitten hasn't it because of what happened with Taylor Hall? Just a wasted $8 million that you paid for a guy who scored a couple goals and gave up as soon as Jack Eichel got hurt. Patrick Kane, maybe. I mean, he could have signed here. He didn't. So, and I don't blame him. Savoy, 6 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in Bakersfield. Yes, in the AHL. Not a bad first start to the season for him. I would have loved to have had Patrick Kane, but he chose not to sign here. We were in the running, apparently. Kevin Adams said that, but he chose not to sign here. And again, I can't say that I blame him. Like, how can you blame him? The guy saw this team, this makeup of this team, that they weren't adding to the roster. They were essentially bringing back the same team with a different bottom 6, same top 6. Traded away a guy like Casey Middlestat that I'm sure Patrick is pretty familiar with. He's a USA kid. So, like, if you're Patrick Kane, you got to think, like, well, what are these guys doing? They're buying out Jeff Skinner. They're not, they're not replacing him. They're trading Casey Middlestat, their best offensive player last season. They traded him for a defenseman, didn't replace his production. Like if you're Patrick Kane, you gotta really measure all the variables, and I don't blame him for not wanting to sign. Trading Middlestat was a mistake for sure. I agree, but here's the thing: I liked the trade at the time because you expected, there was talk that they're going to buy out Middlestat, there's money to be spent. It would have made more sense if you would have spent money and if you would have went out and gotten more depth, but you didn't. So now the trade doesn't look good because you have Casey Middlestat, who's 13 points in 10 games in Colorado, absolutely lighting it up there on a 4-game point. He has 8 points in his last 4 games. So yeah, like it doesn't look good. It does not look good at all. And I like Byram. Like I like Byram on this roster. I think you have the opportunity, if things turn around, to have a really good top 4 defense pairing. But you got to be able to score up front, and you're not. You can't just rely on Tage, Tuck, and Paterka every single game to do more than half your scoring. You just can't all the time. Yeah, you need your second line to contribute, and right now they haven't. They have like 5 total points or whatever it is on the entire season, if that. It's a joke. I don't agree with Middlestat. There's no guarantee he would have put those points up with who we had on the third line. He's playing, but he's still giving you 50. He was still giving you 60 points. Big Fungus. He was still giving you 60 points on this team last year. So, given the opportunity, I think if Middlestat was still on this team, he would be right into your second line center position already. They wouldn't have allowed Cousins to play. Allowed it for Cousins to get to at this point. So it just looks bad. It just looks bad. We suffered through chubby Middlestat for like 5 years. He finally gets in shape and is hitting his prime, and we trade him. Same shit we did with Reinhart and Eichel to a lesser extent. I mean, Jack was always good. I think Sam was always good. He got dogged. Sam got dogged for a lot of reasons. Got dogged by the media, but at the end of the day, like Sam always produced 20 or more goals. Like I can't say that it took Sam a long time to get to where he is now. I think he was always a productive player, just on a very poorly managed and constructed roster. I absolutely think we'd have McLeod because that was a Lindy call. But maybe not having Middlestat was a Lindy call. I don't know. Because actually, no. Lindy wasn't hired. No, I'm sorry. Lindy wasn't hired when that trade was made. So no. So Middlestat wasn't a Lindy call. Sorry. But still, if Middlestat, I think they'd still have McLeod. Maybe not Zucker, but I still think they go out and get McLeod because that was definitely a Lindy call. I'm pretty sure I read that Lindy wanted Ryan McLeod. No, I just mean trading them as soon as hitting their. Oh, I get it. It sucks trading players that are in their prime and then watching them go win on different teams. It might be Middlestat this year with Colorado. We've seen it with Sam. We've seen it with Reinhart. We've seen it with Reinhart. We've seen it with Eichel. We've seen it with O'Reilly, Montour. So many former Sabres, man. I posted on this, but he did win a cup. It just stinks, man. It stinks. And in losing games like this that you shouldn't lose, you should have at least been in this game for 1 point. And You gave it to him, man. You stupid penalties, not paying attention to details is what lost you this game tonight. It wasn't UPL that lost you this game tonight. It wasn't Dylan Cousins that lost you this game tonight, even though he needs to play better. Same thing with Quinn. But it was those two things, not staying in the box and not paying attention to details. And before we get out of here, I do want to read some of the post-game comments from Lindy Ruff. Just give me one moment here. I'll bring them up. Because I know he named somebody that mentioned in the chat. He did name some names, and he wasn't happy. This is from Brian Koziel. Lindy is definitely not shying away from throwing out names tonight. The accountability publicly is clear in this press conference. Seems annoyed that they had a chance to beat a good team, and they did it to themselves with the penalties and odd-man rushes against. Lindy says it was a careless gamble by Dahlin on the second goal against by Reinhart, as he went behind the net with Samuelsson already there. Again, we just discussed that. It's 100% on Dahlin. You need to be better there. You need to be more aware. Like, Samuelsson was hip to hip with him. Like, and even if Barkov probably still does get that pass off, you're there on Reinhart, preventing him from scoring that goal. Lindy says Ube Cabell missed the first assignment, says maybe it was some rust, but no excuse, it cost them. Yep, on the first goal. Lindy says the penalties definitely hurt them. It was a factor in the game early, and the late one certainly hurt. Says they gave them way too many odd man rushes. Says that was another big factor in the loss. Dahlin says it was an intense game. It's a game you want to finish your check, maybe too much. More from Dahlin. Gotta blame myself on that one. They were smarter than we were. Tough penalty at the end. We had a chance to come back there. Stupid play. Zucker says they showed they can play with them, but they did it to themselves. Says the penalties were something they can't do. More from Jason Zucker. I think we got to be better staying out of the box. The team will take advantage of their opportunities. You got to limit those chances as much as you possibly can. But yeah, as you saw, like, these are just some quotes from Lindy, but like, he's not shying away from not calling out players, but mentioning certain scenarios and missed assignments and naming the players that missed those assignments. From Lance Lyasalski, Lindy Ruff explained that he made the switch because Ube Kubel missed an assignment that gave the Panthers a 2-on-1. Just, I think, a little bit of rust in him. Cousins' line was outshot 8-1 after the change. Sabres still searching for the right combination there. Yeah, outshot 8-1, but people are telling me that line had Cousins had a good game tonight. His line got outshot 8-1 after they took Kubel off the line. So I don't want to hear it. You don't have a second line right now. Sucks. One positive note from tonight is Owen Power is on a 5-game point streak, and Tage continues his point streak to 7 games. Yeah, I don't have much more than that. So, can we try Cooley, Cousins, Greenway? Maybe. Why not just put the kid line back together? Just try it. Slide somebody else in that spot for Paterka. I don't know who it is. Maybe you put Kulik up there. But put the kid line back together. Paterka, Quinn, and Cousins. You know there's chemistry there. I know it's hard to break up that top line, but you just can't go through this vicious circle every other game of getting heavy top line scoring, but not enough from everybody else, especially your second line. You do it just to get the tension, get Cousins to stop gripping his stick so much. Same thing with Quinn. Maybe it works. And then you after they get their swagger back, then you put JJ back on that top line. And then, because Tage and Tuck are good enough to carry a line together. We've seen in the past, they both have been together for a long time and have played with different line mates. So I don't know, man. I would put the kid line back together, maybe. Zucker on the first line for JJ, maybe. Sure. Willing to try it. I'm even willing to try Cousins on the wing of the top line. Get him going. You got to get him going somehow. That's just my opinion. Another line suggestion would be from Josh Drag Race. Cousins, McLeod, Hulik. Again, I'm willing to try anything on a second line situation to get some scoring out of these guys because we need it right now. If the kid line doesn't work, then Adams has to make a tough choice with either Cousins or Quinn. More so Quinn for me. Yeah, you have more invested into Cousins, and you're not going to get the return you want. Quinn, you could probably still get a decent return for him because he is a former first-round pick. Not that so is Cousins, but you control his future because he'll be an RFA. That being said, guys, I don't have much more for you. As always, just remember this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. With over 300 beers to choose from at other locations, make sure you go check out Fatty Beer and tell them 2 goalies 1 Mike sent you, and make sure you give that F Yeah beer a try. And then, of course, Buffalo Logo Apparel, whether it's your Sabres hats, your shirts, your hoodies, same thing with the Bills. They have so many different selections available for you, so make sure you go check them out. I am Duane from 2 Goalies 1 Mike, riding solo tonight, but thanks for popping in. I appreciate you all. Please make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you watch us from. Make sure you hit us with a like. Appreciate you guys always commenting. It does help the show. It helps us get a little more exposure. So I appreciate you all. I don't take you for granted. And as always, remember, go Sabres.